This is the second post-observation for ELMP 6666, and I'm Danielle Poleway, and this is Sharon Freese again. I just observed her AP Calculus class, AP Stat class one more time, and we're about to do our post-observation. So Sharon, how do you think it went today?
It went well. I thought most of the kids understood what they were doing. When I was thinking about it, I still think my wait time, like that, could have been extended a little bit. Still going for that first hand that goes up and kind of putting answers into their mouth sometimes when I want to move it along. But in terms of them working, I think it was a much calmer atmosphere.
You seemed a lot more, I don't know if you were nervous the last time because I was here, but you seemed definitely more at ease today, and not as, I don't think it was, I don't think your wait time had a problem today, to be honest. Yeah, I thought it was good.
That's why it's always good to have another pair of eyes and ears in the room.
And be able to really compare, and that's why I think it's good that the kids were still sitting in the same group, because I did have a control group then to be able to compare. One thing I did do a little differently this time was just to take a little inventory on the students that you called on. Like I did a little head count that way, and there's 8 girls in the class that we counted today and 11 boys in the class, and the boys took over answering the questions, which was interesting to see. They most of the time had their hands up, so I guess that's what you're saying. You called on that first hand, that came up. What do you think you could do differently to encourage the girls maybe to answer the questions a little bit more?
Well, definitely call on the girls and just give them the time to think it out. And I don't know, maybe have more girls, like maybe, I haven't thought about grouping them by gender. Maybe like that's a good thing to do if the boys are taking over, because the groups are also boys and girls.
Right, well the class is heavier with the amount of boys, so just by the statistics of it, they will be called on more. But I just thought it was interesting, just for your information, I tick marked 14 times the boys answered questions for you and 5 times the girls answered questions. So it's just an interesting thing to think about,
3 times as much.
And and Mike was the winner. Mike was the king today.
Yeah, and it's kind of, I rely on him to give me the answers and to keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and it's, I want to give the other kids a chance, so that's what I didn't like about today's lesson, that it's just easy to call on him all the time, because it's going to be right. And he's going to explain it well to the rest of the class.
And he was, interestingly, he was very comfortable when you put his paper up, and he did have an incorrect answer. And you have such a great way with the kids. They're so comfortable. When he was able to figure out his own mistake and fix it, and the students helped him, I thought that was a really good way to check on their understanding. Now, from the last time, we had talked about the wait time, and we had talked about asking the questions to be able to make sure that all of the students were understanding and not just the select few. And I thought today, because your wait time was longer, I thought you got a better feel for more students understanding or not understanding. So I thought that was a really good thing. What else did you do today that was a little bit different to check for understanding or for some clarity with the students?
Well, I just inventoried them at one point. I said how many groups got this right, how many, did anyone get it wrong? I went from group to group, so I kind of had a sense that they were getting it right. I collected the one paper from each group at the end for the 2 problems to see if they were going to get it right.
And how much you're going to grade that one as a quiz?
No, I'm going to do it as a class
assignment.
As
a class assignment. Okay.
But I kind of liked the fact that they were begging me to do it as a quiz.
Right.
Because that, to me, made me feel good that they definitely understood it and were confident of what they had put down.
Right.
But I didn't want to shoot them down right away, so I told them I'd think about it.
Right. Now, the kids were definitely having fun today. They really were, they were relaxed. I think you did less problems today than you did the last time.
So I still had 8 problems there, but I had cut it down to 3 when we started working on it, and we'll finish
Right.
it up tomorrow.
But it was great the way that when they were finished with what you needed them to be finished for, the 3 groups that were finished, you said, well, why don't you work on number 4? So they
Right.
were kept on task and
Right.
they kept going. I also thought, because one of the things that we talked about in our pre-conference was how you were going to reactivate their prior knowledge, because there was a problem between the sequence. They had,
Right.
can you remind me what happened? They had
a test in between.
They had a test in between. So, and because they had asked you to move the test
Yeah,
because
they
of their
wanted-
field trip.
Right.
Right.
So there was a field trip, and then there was a test, and then we had the weekend, so they haven't done this for a while.
Right. So the do now really reactivated their prior
Right.
knowledge, and you were able to figure out if they remembered what they were doing so that
Right.
you could move forward. So do you think that your main objective for the lesson today, using that as your springboard, was met?
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you think that why do you feel that it was met?
I feel like the kids were really confident about what they were doing, and the ones that were, we had kind of left it off with the formula and had just started on the shortcut that we could use on the calculator. And by the time they walked out of here today, they were all comfortable using the calculator. So.
And I liked when you said about how use the formula, here's what needs to then go in the calculator, but don't write that down. You won't
Right.
get the points for that.
Right.
But there really needed to be a lot of checking for understanding there between, did they really understand what needed to go in the formula, but then what also went in the
Right.
calculator, and that was acceptable for the answer on an AP test. Now, you obviously identified one of the students that was having a really hard time
Right.
today, poor little Kim. So can you tell me what you did when you pulled her to the side and tried to help her?
Right, when the other groups were working on the 2 problems, I asked Kim to come sit with me, and we formed a group, and I was working with her and trying to straighten out her problems.
And do you think that she understood by the time she
Yeah, she
left?
definitely did.
Okay.
I think she's been reluctant to come in for extra help, so maybe this'll, and I try to grab her a little bit, so I don't know if I'm reinforcing her not coming in by working with her during class time, but she did say she's gonna start coming in now extra after school for extra help.
Right. And I actually thought that the students were very helpful and patient with her, trying to answer
Yeah,
her
they are.
questions.
And
And they're helpful with each other.
Yeah. That group also, the group she's in, is very patient with her, and they work with her, and that's also why I haven't been a little bit reluctant to change the groups.
Okay.
Because she's definitely one of the weakest students in the class.
Oh, okay.
So, and she's working with a good group there. Well, you know Keith Shane.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
a very sweet kid.
Yeah, he is.
I kind of need, so maybe in the next group I'll keep him with her, and then 2 other females.
That sounds like a good idea. And then with the female answering thing,
Right.
maybe she would feel
Right.
comfortable answering the
Right.
questions. That would be a good idea. Right. And then today, just to close up our talk here, what was your closure for today for the lesson?
Didn't have a closure. We were going to go over the problem, and then I was going to, after all the groups handed it in, I was just going to go over it and then go through the 4 conditions of a binomial just orally.
Okay.
And just go through the formula again. But we didn't get to that, and that's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Just ran
I
out of
just-
time.
yeah.
So what will you do maybe tomorrow? You have them tomorrow? What will
Yeah.
you do tomorrow to try and just solidify what happened at the end of class today?
So tomorrow, as I give them back the problems, I'm gonna put up one group's answers, and we're gonna go through what the 4 conditions were. I think as I was collecting it, I think every group got it right.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay, so you were able to at
But
least
we're gonna go
assess
through the
them.
4 conditions, what we need to include when we're writing out the problem, what we're putting into the calculator.
Okay.
But we'll definitely start with that. Tomorrow should go really fast, and we should be able to go into geometrics, I think, by halfway into the period. So we're just gonna tie up the loose ends from today.
Okay. So kind of just have a little closure
Yes.
to our conversation. The
Yes.
last time we talked about, in particular, 2 things that you really wanted to focus on, and it was the wait time and some checking for understandings, making sure that not just the select few students understood, And I think that you did a great job with trying to hit both of those today.
Yeah, I think in terms of understanding, I definitely had a feeling with Kim, and I think they mostly understood it, yes.
Yeah.
The wait time, I still need to work with a little bit.
We all have to work
Yeah.
with that all the time.
So I'm still not happy with that, but it's getting there.
Okay.
And after 30 years, what can you do?
Sharon, again,
Just
thank you so
drink
much
the
for
coffee.
thank you so much for your time again, and hopefully, Dr. E, you will enjoy this post observation again, and looking forward to seeing you next semester. Thanks so much.